Yo, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute. I've been MIA for a little while, but I'm back to break down this little R&B sample I made not too long ago. It's in the style of someone like Summer Walker, maybe some more of Black's, more like laid-back actual R&B type stuff. But yeah, before we get into it, just a real fast reminder that you can go grab my kits for 25% off with this code that's on the screen right now. There's a drum kit Vertigo and a sample kit Silhouettes right now, and I'm also working on a new drum kit that's going to be out sometime in May, hopefully. So be on the lookout for that. Alright, so we're working at 106 BPM. I've found for me personally that I like working between like 80 and 120. Somewhere in there. I just chose 106 for this one. The first sound I started with was this orange Aurora pad out of Analog Lab 5. It sounds like this dry. I'll just play a C major chord. So it's a super nice, just like analog pad. It's got some nice warmth and saturation built into it, which I really like. And then I just played these chords. It's a G major 7th going down to a D major 7th. And then there's just these two notes in there as well. Made sure to strum them with Alt S, and then I hit Alt R just to randomize some of the velocities and make it a little more human. Then for the effects, went ahead and threw on my favorite thermal preset, Dreamy Lo-Fi Piano. Then a J37, the metallic drum loop stereo flange preset. I probably mess with some of these knobs, but that just kind of gives it some flange and some phasing. Then just a bandpass and RC20 on the Vinyl 1 preset, probably just brought down the noise. And then a final EQ just to cut out some of the mud that I didn't really want in there. And then that sounds like this. Next preset I used is this Morning Rhodes preset out of Analog Lab 5. It's just like a nice Rhodes piano with no effects. Sounds like this. So it's got some nice like reverb built in. I went ahead and used Sketch Cassette. These are those settings. I think I just messed with the default preset probably. Reels, again, default preset, just a few knobs tweaked, and I brought the mix down. Low high just to cut off the highs and add some resonance. A parametric EQ just to cut out the lows, and then a comeback kid for some delay. So I played the same exact chords through that Rhodes. I just had to bounce it to audio because it was using up a lot of CPU, but that sounds like this. Together. Nice little vibe going so far. After that, I added this bass, which is just the grease bass from Only One's kit. I just added some attack with the envelope, and then I played the root notes, just the G down to the D, and then I added a couple slides on the second half. Then I used a ozone imager just to tighten up the low end a bit because it felt a little wide to me and it was kind of distracting. And then I also just cut out the very low frequencies under like 40 hertz. So from there, I went ahead and I added this little pluck. The original sound was a one shot from Nami's new kit, and I just manipulated it a bit. So it sounds like that dry. You can barely really hear it. With no effects, that pattern itself sounds like this. Which is not good. It's just like plinks and clicks, which just sound like shit, to be honest. But I did a bunch of processing to this sound. Started with that same stereo flange preset in J37, threw a halftime on it on the 1/8 triplet preset. Then a comeback kid, another halftime on the quarter preset, an effect rack on the smallish room preset, a thermal on that same Dreamy Lo-Fi Piano, a low high to cut out those highs, brought the resonance down quite a bit this time. Then a CLA 3A stereo compressor. This is pretty much just acting like a limiter, and it's kind of just squashing everything. Stereo shaper on the shrinked preset, and finally a pan man just to throw it back and forth a little bit in the mix. All together, it sounds like this. So this sound definitely took the longest out of the beat, if you couldn't tell, just by all those effects. I did something I don't usually do, which is I turned on like the halftime and stuff, and then I made the melody. because I wanted kind of like this weird bounce to it, like that you wouldn't expect from like an R&B sample. And that's something I've been trying to do a lot with my samples of all genres, really, is to just like do something that the listener isn't going to expect. The main way I've been doing that is through like timing and like having sounds come in where you wouldn't expect them to and like drop out where you wouldn't expect them to, stuff like that. And I think that adds to like the engagement that a listener has when they listen to one of your samples when you do stuff like that. So then the next thing I added was just this Perc Loop from an Only One kit. Just stretched it to 8 bars and then I dropped it in octave. Then I put it on the shrinked preset in Stereo Shaper, just compressed it. Used Diablo Light to add some punch and some clip. That's gonna crash my FL. It is a good time for me to remind you to drink some water, stay hydrated. It's getting hot out there. It's 83 in my room right now, so I'm kind of dying, but you know.
2 hours later.
Okay, so as I was saying, I just have a Diablo Light with some clip and some punch, and then a really tight bandpass. So that just sounds like this. Kind of just add some texture and some like nice resonance. So this is what it sounds like altogether with that Perc Loop. And then like this melodic element right here I added, it sounds like this. So I just exported out that lead, I reversed it, and then I chopped it every 2 bars, and I swapped the bars like this, so that the right notes were playing over the right chords. But yeah, this is what that sounds like. And all I did to that was just throw halftime on the default preset. Then I finally added one last Perc Loop, which is also from an Only One kit, and I threw the cross stick room preset and another bandpass, so it sounds like this. So it's really washed out and vibey, and that section sounds like this. So it just adds another little layer of texture and a nice little switch up just comes in right at the end of the sample. And then the final thing I added to this beat, because I got to this point and I was like, all right, it's good, but like I feel like it could use one more thing. And usually that would be where I stop, because that last thing is usually the artist. But this time it was like, I want something else. So I went searching for a vocal chop or like a vocal loop of some kind for a long ass time. I went through like Splice, Looperman, all this stuff. I couldn't find anything. Finally, I just went through the sample kit that my homie Livewire sent through, and I found this like R&B sample that is just crazy. It's just a vibe and a half, you know what I'm saying? So then I just added some default vintage verb, brought the mix down, and a nice little bandpass, so it sounds like this. Not much different, to be honest. Just kind of washes it out. So then all together with that vocal sample, it sounds like this. Beautiful. It's just like the perfect glue to like hold everything together, and I like it a lot. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the sample. Nothing too crazy. It stayed pretty simple with it. Just 2 chords, not too many sounds. I got kind of weird with that pluck, but that's kind of what I try to do, is like keep it simple and then have one element that you like experiment with or like kind of just use to make it your own kind of thing, you know? So like without that, I think it could be like just a basic ass R&B sample, but like with it, you're kind of like, okay, this is interesting. It's kind of just like that hook, that ear candy that will just like differentiate your stuff from other people's. That I think is something that is overlooked a lot. So but yeah, I'll play the finished sample right after this. I appreciate you guys for watching. Appreciate the support recently. It's been pretty dope to see. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that boring stuff on YouTube. Follow my Instagram as well. You can DM me with any questions you have there. Go cut my kits. You can get 25% off with this code. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.